Hi, my name is Sommer. I'm a student at California State University, San Bernardino, earning my teaching credential and master's degree in mild to moderate special education. This video is for EDUC 605, outlining my teaching philosophy. I want to begin with an anecdote that defines the way I think about my mission as a teacher. The story is about a boy walking along a beach in which thousands of starfish have washed up. The boy is picking up starfish one by one and flinging them back into the water. An old man sees the boy and asks what he is doing. "The starfish will die if they don't get back into the water, so I'm throwing them back in," says the boy. The old man replies, "But there are thousands and thousands of starfish on this beach. You can't possibly help them all. What does it matter if you throw a few back in?" The boy bends over, picks up another starfish, and flings it into the water. Looking at the old man, he says, "Well, it mattered to that one." I first heard this story a few years ago when I was training to work with high-risk child abuse victims, and it's what comes to mind whenever I reflect on my motivation for teaching. I know I'll never be able to help every student, but if I can help just one or two, my work will be worth it. So what is my philosophy of teaching? I lean towards both progressivism and behaviorism. My progressive attitude is a reflection of how I view the ideal teacher, curriculum, and classroom. I believe education should encourage cooperation, learning through problem solving, and that learning should relate to student interest when possible. I also found that I agreed with many behaviorist beliefs because of my background in both mild to moderate and moderate to severe special education, and working at a foster home for victims of child abuse. I value clear and enforced rules, reward systems, and working on behavioral objectives and control. Though they don't align in every way, I think that progressivism and behaviorism can be combined in the classroom. I believe that students are intrinsically motivated to learn, but that doesn't mean that an underperforming student is unmotivated or lazy. The most motivated student in the world is only going to be able to do to the best of their ability what they're capable of doing. In special education, I have students with widely differing ability levels. Some students cannot do what others can, and no amount of bribing them with extra recess or threatening them with a phone call home will make a student suddenly able to do something that they can't. Students are motivated, yes, but intrinsic motivation isn't enough. It's our job to teach students new skills, teach them to feel good about their academic success, and give them the tools necessary to succeed. I cringe when I hear a teacher say that a student is underperforming or failing because he's just lazy. All students are entitled to a free public education from teachers that genuinely care about them. But this education won't look the same for everyone. Every child is different. As teachers, we need to be aware of the ability levels and learning styles of our students and make modifications and accommodations when necessary. Currently, I work in a specialized academic instruction class serving students with moderate to severe disabilities. In this class, I have students that cannot hold a pencil, as well as students that are reading and writing whole sentences. Though both children should be given the best possible education that meets their needs, this education will look different because their specific needs are different. I take a more postmodern perspective on education, believing that there are no universal truths that should be taught, because truth is defined by the culture that believes it to be true. This even applies to special education classes that teach basic skills. We may think that skills like using a fork and sitting at a desk are skills that should be taught everywhere, regardless of location, and that therefore they are universal truths. However, using a fork might be swapped out for using chopsticks in many Asian countries, whereas sitting at a desk might be traded for sitting on mats on the floor. As teachers, it's important for us to realize that what we're teaching is only one way of viewing the world, and that it is defined by our culture. We should strive to teach in a way that makes our students open to diversity of race, culture, gender, ethnicity, and region, and to understanding new ways to look at their own world. I greatly support the practice of applied behavior analysis, or ABA. ABA is a series of teaching techniques and strategies that are used in intervention programs to teach socially appropriate behaviors and academic, self-help, and life skills. ABA is designed for children with autism, but can be used for other children exhibiting inappropriate behaviors as well. I have found ABA to be highly successful with students with and without autism, and anticipate utilizing ABA in my future career as a special education teacher. The classroom environment that is most conducive to learning will have well-defined learning spaces. Teachers' desks, small group and one-on-one work centers, student desks, computer centers, or activity centers will all be separate and identifiable. Desks need to be arranged in such a way that all students can see and be seen by the teacher during whole class instruction. In special education and elementary grades, a visual or written schedule should be posted in a prominent place and easily understood. Class rules must be posted and phrased in a way that is positive and clear. These rules should be enforced with consistency. I believe that effective classroom management for special education and lower grades includes the use of a reward system. Whether this is a token economy, a color system, or a point system, it should be posted in the room. Student work samples as well as instructional and educational material should be posted in the room as well, but not to a degree that walls feel cluttered or overwhelming. Bookcases and shelves should be organized with student material readily accessible. I know that my students have learned when they can begin to work independently on a task and can use that ability or knowledge in a generalized way, applying it to different environments or units. Any show of progress is evidence of learning. Records like work samples, portfolios, observations, and assessments can be used to monitor learning progress. Students should be encouraged in their achievements, even if they're small. A student who feels good about what they've accomplished is more likely to strive to accomplish more. Failing to reward or validate our students will have a profoundly negative impact on learning. Because I agree with both progressivism and behaviorism, I think that the role of teacher is different depending on whether you're considering it from an instructional or behavioral standpoint. From an instructional point of view, the teacher's role is that of the facilitator that encourages learning and development of students by designing learning activities and promoting critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. From a behavioral perspective, the role of teacher is that of the authority figure who establishes rules, operates reward systems by controlling rewards and consequences, and designs and implements behavior objectives. So that describes a few aspects of my teaching philosophy. I talked about my alignments with progressive and behavioral philosophies, as well as my own philosophy regarding student motivation, having the same education for all students, postmodernism, applied behavior analysis, classroom environment and management, student learning, and the role of the teacher. Thank you for listening.